feel the urge to push. Can cause the need for interventions such as vacuums and forceptors. Can reach the baby. There should be more. Medication is injected to the epidural space surrounding the spinal canal, the epidurals. This is anesthesia, numbs from the waist down. Usually provides excellent pain relief for the labor and the birth. Mom can talk. There's nothing making her sleepy or anything along those lines. Mom can sleep and rest during a long or difficult labor. Provides good pain relief from contractions. May still be able to assume helpful positions and possibly walk. In our area with our epidurals, you will not be able to walk. Some of them are real light, but they're not going to do that here. May require an additional pain medication. I'm sure you've heard of people where they got their epidural, but only one side was numb. That happens a lot. That they, instead of getting it in, they kind of get it around. And you only get one side medicated. So if that happens, they'd either have to do it again, or you'd have to get one of the other pain medications. There's disadvantages to both. Requires the mother to be continually monitored. So once you get an epidural, you're going to be on the monitor the whole time.
2 to above.
Oh, okay. This can also lead the mother to feeling like her experience is medicated or mechanized. Medicalized, I can't say the word. Sometimes you get spotty coverage, meaning it doesn't work the whole area, the whole body. Can limit the mobility and options for positioning, so that's definitely true. That definitely will. Can cause urinary retention, which can lead to the need to be repeatedly catheterized or catheterized the entire time. Large amounts of IV fluids are going to be given because it does lower the blood pressure. And the most common side effect is lowered maternal blood pressure, which can affect the baby's heart rate. Morphine, which is one of the things they can inject, can cause intense itching all over the body. There's a needle that's going to be inserted in the back, and then they put the tube in through the needle. There's a 14-fold increase in maternal fever because it affects the mother's body temperature. May prolong labor or stop contractions, which can lead to Pitocin. Decreases the pushing ability and negates the urge to push. Increased incidence of forceps, vacuums, episiotomy, and other cesarean births, even. Possibly inadvertent puncture of the membrane covering the spinal cord, causing a spinal headache. It is the worst, absolute worst type of headache, and it takes about 8 hours for it to go away usually. In a very rare case, they can hit the cord, which is obviously very bad, but usually they don't do that. And can be costly if you don't have insurance. So the disadvantages for the baby. As much as a 30-fold increase in maternal level of medication has been found in the baby. So basically, if mom got 100 milligrams, they're going to find 30 in the baby. That's a lot. The infant may be groggy and have decreased sucking ability, leading to difficulties feeding, breastfeeding too. If the mother has a fever, the infant is going to be required to undergo a septic workup, meaning is the baby have an infection? Which could mean the baby's separated, the baby's undergoing testing, longer hospital stay, antibiotics. They can do a lot with this. So, as much as all of this is true, I'm still going to tell you, try to have the baby without it, but if you need it, get it. Okay? So, again, here's some of the interventions that they do. Oops, so sorry. So, IV fluids, you're going to have an IV. If you choose to have an unmedicated delivery, that's fine. You're still going to have what they call a heparin lock, which is the IV with the tube hanging out, okay? And that's just for an emergency situation. They are definitely going to want to monitor the baby's heart rate, which is the lower of the two bands around the belly. And that's for the baby's safety, because if something does start to go wrong, and we're going to talk about some of the things that go wrong as we go through today, you want to know right away, okay? The episiotomy, that's actually the cut next to the vagina and the rectum. Vacuum extraction, forceps, augmentin or induced labor, and then cesarean delivery. Yeah. So ask your provider for more information about the medications available during labor and delivery. What do you usually use? Ask the hospital as well. When you arrive at the hospital, be open and ask questions of the staff. You know, I really am going to try to do this without any medications. Is there anything that you can recommend to help me with that? Or, you know, can you not offer me the epidural? Say to your nurse, I really don't want you to offer me the epidural. I know it's available, and my husband will talk to you if we decide to go with it, but I don't want you asking me if I want it every 5 minutes. When the anesthesiologist comes to see you, discuss the options. Anesthesiologists, if possible, ask them which one they do. So, like, if you know you're going for a section, something's like the baby's upside down, that happens. Which one are you better at? That's a good question as well, because they're different. So if your anesthesiologist is more comfortable putting a needle in your back this way rather than this way, that's probably what you want to go with. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Good. And remember that anesthesiologists usually have one type of epidural they favor, are better at. Yeah, you want them to do the one they're better at. So.
All right, so I'm going to hand these wonderful index cards around. If you want to pass those that way. Or you participate, Miss Virginia. I want you guys to write down one fear that you have regarding birth. You're not going to write one down? Oh, I was going to say. You need a pen.
Thank you.
I just stole hers.
We did, but I have color pencil.
Here's the purple. One fear regarding the birth. Shh.
Or you can keep it.
I thought you were passing along.
Oh no, we're comparing because we wrote the same thing.
Just pick one fear that you have about going into labor.
Of mine came true.
That's not good.
That's very rare, though.
Well, I'll help you with one now. Your baby will be human. There you go.
It's questionable.
Might be a menopause or whatever.
Might really, really love pizza rolls.
Probably.
No.
And Pokemon.
The baby really loves chicken though. Every time I eat chicken, the baby goes crazy.
So Virginia, when they have their baby, I want to know right away what it is because I'm like dying to know.
Exactly. All right, well, I'll go ahead and start. And we kind of did the same thing. She put,
Bad outcome.
and I put something will go wrong. So, Virginia?
Mine was, my biggest fear going into having my oldest child was the fear of having a C-section because my sister had to. And I was like, man, I don't want a C-section. Whatever, I don't want a C-section. I was adamant about it. So that was my biggest fear going in.
And Sandra?
I think about like the baby not breathing after birth.
What did you come up with?
Okay, I think mine like falls under everything. I have really bad anxiety, so that's what I worry about, like me just getting overwhelmed with anxiety. I've kind of been that way through like the whole pregnancy.
Through your whole life.
Yeah, but it's been worse since we've been pregnant.
Why do you think that is?
Why? I think because we had a miscarriage before, and it took us 8 years to get pregnant, so.
Right. But when we look at why that is, sometimes we can make it better.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a miscarriage this time, I promise.
That's true. I've definitely been better since I've been able to feel the baby move.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally relieved me some.
But we always still have, like, anytime we go to a checkup or anything, we
Yeah.
still have the fear in the back of our minds that something's going to be wrong every time we go.
And I think that's 100% natural and normal
Yeah.
for people who've gone through what you did.
I have a high anxiety levels too, and I was that way with mine. Like I hated going to my doctor's appointments by myself because I was like, what's wrong?
Mhm.
Like, what am I gonna do? Something will check me get so upset. And you know, it's a natural part of being a mom, anyways. And
Mhm.
you know, I used to say, I'm not gonna quit worrying until he's here and I'm holding him. I can see him and I
And then
hear
it's just
him.
gonna get worse when they're here.
It does.
So you just worry about them.
Exactly. Chris?
I feel like I just picked one that we've talked about before, is baby being in the wrong position.
Okay. all very, very valid fears. So hopefully everything will go as planned and your babies will come out fine. Be prepared for the unexpected. So sometimes things happen that are beyond our control. There's nothing that we can do about it. We just need to be able to be prepared to not have our mindset on that one plan that we want to go on. You know, like, don't be set on, they're distracting me. Don't be set on, you know, this is the way labor is going to go and this is how I want it to go, and if it doesn't go this way, I'm going to be upset. You want to plan for, okay, what would I do if I have to have a C-section? How would I feel if I have to do this? So if you kind of prepare for it and think about it, you know, not to length, but just kind of touch on it before you go in, it might bring your fear levels a little bit down. So. All right, so now this is where we're talking about the variations in labor. So what happens when things go wrong? So some of the things that can go wrong, fetal intolerance, which basically means that the baby's heartbeat is not within normal limits, and because the baby's not getting enough oxygen. So this could happen for a couple different reasons. It could be the position of the baby, the cord could be around the baby's neck. So I'm listening.
Contractions too fast, and there's a lot of things that could cause this.
So if this happens, they're probably going to have you on that fetal monitor, and you're probably not going to be able to move very much. They might restrict how you can move. So rather than sitting in a chair, they might have you laying on the bed, or they might come in and say, I know you're really comfortable, but we really need you to turn to the other side, or we need to put this pillow under your back. So just listen to the support person or the staff and support person. You want to encourage her to just do whatever they're asking. So, they might also put an oxygen mask on you to give you oxygen to help you get more oxygen to the baby. They also are going to be checking mother's IV levels to make sure that blood pressure, because of the blood pressure. So we know this is frightening. You want to relax as much as possible, follow all instructions. Support person should help mom stay calm, reassure her. You should be the single point of contact between the staff support person and mom. So if they tell you something, you need to go to mom and explain it to her. Maybe try to, you don't want to lie to her, but don't want to make it seem so scary. So sometimes they'll come to you and be like, we have fetal intolerance going on, blah, 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 blah. And you want to go to her and be like, listen, baby's okay, just having a little bit of trouble breathing, so we're going to move you to this side, and we're going to just do what the staff person says. So that can really help.
And I will tell you this, the hospitals, your monitor goes to a big screen where everybody's heart tracing is. And so that screen, they have that screen about 100 times. I mean, you go to the bathroom almost, and there's that screen. It's in the break room, it's at every station, in the nurse's station. They are watching you. So even if there's something a little going on and your nurse is not right there, you have at least 3 to 4 people minimum watching that baby's heart tracing the entire labor.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times there's one person that actually doesn't leave that desk unless, they have to go to the bathroom or something. But that's their job, is to just sit there, greet people as they come, and then watch that monitor. So
yeah. I was at Shands, and there was a baby's heart racing that changed, and the nurse got up from her lunch, was watching it, got up from her lunch, and went and dealt with it. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I appreciate you adding stuff in. And then use relaxation techniques such as breathing. So like the breathing that we were just talking about. Now breech presentation. Now this is kind of what your fear was that you wrote down, baby being in the wrong position. So there's actually pictures of this a little bit later, but the baby's buttocks, knees, feet come first. Jennifer was a foot first baby.
It was a footling breech, which means one of my feet came out, the other one did not.
So oftentimes this means
She was
that
kind to her mother.
Well, my cord came out too, so that kind of C-section where you have no pain meds and you go straight to sleep, that's exactly what she got.
So, just be aware that in this case, sometimes if the baby's not positioned right, they might try to move you around, and then if it goes too long, they're probably going to say, we need to take you in for a C-section.
One other thing that they can do, they're not gonna want to do this, but they can actually avert the baby, which means you get 2 doctors who turn the baby around. There's some dangers with that. The big one is damaging the placenta or popping the placenta off the uterus, but no, it exists. So if they say, we can try to turn the baby around, yeah, they can.
And what you're thinking, that's what they do.
No, they literally,
They
one on
literally
either
go
side,
in there
and then, you would not enjoy.
No, it would be
That's
very uncomfortable, at least.
To say the least, yeah.
most likely if it's not like the baby's feet are coming out, like they're just positioned wrong, they're going to try to reposition you, try to get the baby in the right spot. They may even, if they know that the baby's not going to move for whatever reason, they've tried all these positions, they may let you labor for a little bit just to let the baby get those benefit of the contractions to kind of help. So just be aware of that. One of the reasons that might mean you have to go for a C-section. Now the posterior position, we've already talked about this. So this is when the baby is facing the back of the head, the baby's facing the stomach, right? And the back of the head's on the spine. So you're gonna feel all that back pain. Again, we kind of talked about first time mothers might not be able to handle this. They might have to go to that C-section. Mothers who have had children before, they might be able to handle it. And then again, some of the same coping stuff that we've been talking about. So stay off her back. Try to use the hands and knees position, use counter pressure. This is when you want to have your bag of tricks. You can use the hot compress, the cold compress, the tennis ball, whatever works. Doing pelvic rocks can also help turn the baby. So you definitely in this situation, you want to try to move as much as possible, get that baby to move. So, and you may need medication if it gets too painful. Mother may not be able to handle it, need medication. So now this is the vertex, meaning that the baby is facing head down. And then the one here is the face and brow. So this is when, I think you talked about it in another class, where the face is coming out first, which could possibly...
It's just the biggest part of the head, so it's going to be really hard to push that baby out.
Mm-hmm. And it could lead to some discoloration to the face and things like that from the pressure and all.
That baby would look funny.
Shoulder or arm first, also known as transverse. And then breech. So we have the foot lean. This was Jennifer.
Yep.
And then Frank, meaning he's coming butt first. And then complete. So
Basically, the head is the biggest part. So if the rest of the baby comes first and the head comes last, the head can get stuck by the chin and they can lose the baby. So that's why you're going to be hard pressed to ever find a doctor to deliver you vaginally with a breech baby.
all right, now induction. So this is when you're probably 41 weeks. They're going to start talking to you about, hey, possibly even 40, depending on your doctor and what their views are. They're going to say, hey, you're still in labor, you're not dilating, or you are dilating, but you're not dilating fast enough. Let's give you some Pitocin and start your labor. So just know that if you are induced, it is going to probably be more painful because the contractions are going to be more severe because it's being brought on. Also, they might do this when the bag of water breaks, but your labor is not beginning, you're not dilating. The need to deliver the baby due to maternal health problems. So if you're 37 weeks, 38 weeks, and something's going on with mom, they might say, hey, we're going to induce your labor because we need to get this baby out. And then the doctor or midwife will decide on how long to wait before inducing. With that being said, you can ask them, say, listen, I want to keep the baby in as long as it's safe, to give them that extra time to develop those lungs, develop all that wonderful stuff. By 37 weeks, the lungs are fully developed, but sometimes it's better to let the baby just come out on their own. So,
What complications could there be if you're induced early?
just because they're giving you medicine, the contractions are stronger, the baby's not coming naturally, so there could be...
It depends. If your blood pressure shoots up and it's the choice between chancing mom having a seizure and and having the baby early, well, that they have to balance it. So they're going to have a talk with you. Hey, I'm really worried about this blood pressure and I'd rather you not have this illness. Why don't we have the baby? They can do this for big babies, babies that are too big. You know, there's going to be a conversation between you and your doctor. You're going to know that this is going to be a possibility before you go in.
Yeah, it's not going to be, oh, we're just
By the
going to
way.
induce you.
Well, they've already said
Yeah.
something about checking me at 38 weeks, and if she wants to take the baby out because of my high blood pressure.
Okay. And that's
She's like, I don't want you to get preeclampsia, so I'd rather
Right.
just take the
And
baby
you don't
early.
want preeclampsia,
Right.
okay? So what they would do, they have a couple different medications they use. So the first one is called Cervidil, and it looks like a pill. And they put it in against the cervix, and it softens the cervix. If your cervix is completely closed and you start having contractions, it's not going to work. Cervix needs to be soft. That comes out. You should be having some contractions at that point. Then they're going to start Pitocin. And the thing about making labor come is the body's not ready. So if you do that, then you are increasing your chance of having a C-section. But it's increasing the chance of C-section versus seizure and strokes. So, you have to balance that with your doctor.
Okay. So hopefully everything will go fine. And the baby will come out fine, and you go into labor on your own.
And as long as the baby's healthy, it almost doesn't matter how they come out.
Exactly. Now,
But like developmentally, like at that point the baby is,
after 37 weeks, your baby's completely developed and can survive outside the womb, no problem. The lungs are the last thing to develop, and that's why they say 37 weeks.
Mine didn't want to suck after he was born, but that's just him. He was lazy.
Well, brain development is complete at 39. You
Yeah.
want 39 if possible. But again, stroke and seizure. Don't have pregnancy.
Most of the complications, like as far as developmental things at that point, are usually very, very small because
Yeah.
for the most part the brain is developed. For the most part, the lungs are developed.
Yeah.
It's just that if the baby wasn't ready to come, then they may do things a couple of weeks delayed. Like you'll see things that most people are like, oh, when my newborn was doing this, well, it might take yours a week or so to do that, but
Yeah.
just they're not like being born at 28 weeks.
Yeah. And they might be a little bit slower to breathe, or it's not going to be
Their
anything that's
outburst
crazy.
score might be lower.
A little bit lower. You'll have an 8 instead of a 10. You're still going to have a healthy baby to take home. It's just not the major full term, healthy punky baby that's ready to go.
Any more questions? Okay. So now they can also, if your bag of water hasn't broken, they can break it and see if that will bring labor on. They can use nipple stimulation and then also Pitocin. And then, so support person, mother may be allowed to sit in a chair or walk around the room if she can. You need to be there to help her, support her. Frequent position changes if possible. Urinating frequently.
more frequently.
Yeah. And the one thing you have to understand is if you are going to be induced, you're going to be there forever. So take lots of stuff to do.
And then mother may need pain medicine because the Pitocin can cause the contractions to be stronger.
Yes.
Now long labor, so slow starting, slows down after starting. Pitocin can be used to help speed this labor up as well. So rather than being induced, maybe the bag of water broke and then labor slows down, or maybe mother's just not dilating as quickly as they expected. This may be when they start to use Pitocin as well. So mother should conserve energy and get sleep when she can. Use relaxation techniques and coping techniques. Keep energy up by eating and drinking lightly. And walking can help stimulate labor. So again, support person, you're going to need to support her, hold her, walk her around the halls, wherever they're going to let her walk. And then short labor. So Antandra, this might be you. Labor that progresses rapidly, usually for mothers who have given birth previously. Although labor is fast, the same amount of work is done, so labor can be more intense. And then signs that labor is progressing too rapidly: strong regular contractions, early in signs of transition, feeling pressure, wanting to push, mother having the sense of the baby's head being at the birth canal.
These are the moms that have babies in cars.
I'm gonna let you talk about shipping membranes.
Oh, okay. So you have to be open a little bit. And what the doctor actually does is take a sterile glove, go inside, and kind of pull the bag of waters off of the side of the uterus. So kind of strip it away. This is not the most comfortable thing in the universe. In fact, you'll probably curse at her. But it can bring your labor on. And it can save an induction. But again, you have to be open a little bit for them to do with this. There's a small chance they'll break the membrane as well. So if they break it, you're going to end up going to the hospital because you can't be having an open membrane, which can lead the baby to infection. So it's a good thing. Just be prepared to curse at the doctor.
All right, and you want to talk
And-
about the rest?
okay.
'Cause I can't even say that.
An amniotomy.
Amniotomy.
Yes. They take basically a crochet hook and they go in and they just hook the side of the bag and they pop it. Okay. Neither you nor the baby are gonna have any kind of feeling when this is done. However, of course, you're gonna feel like you've wet yourself because all the water's gonna start to drain out. Doing this is actually going to increase your labor, make your labor go faster because it puts, instead of the baby's having a cushion with the cervix, it's gonna be right on, which is gonna make the labor go faster, more intense, yes. Prostaglandins. These are a type of hormone that's going to help your labor get going as well. That's what the Cervidil is a prostaglandin, or it's actually an artificial prostaglandin. And then the Pitocin is the it is the man-made version of oxytocin, and oxytocin is the hormone that causes us to have contractions. So if you need Pitocin, one of the things you can do to release oxytocin is nipple stimulation, okay? One of the things that you can do is have sex, because whenever you orgasm, it releases that oxytocin into your bloodstream. So these are things that you can do to get labor started. If they're talking to you about, well, if you don't have the baby by Monday, come on in for an induction. Well, maybe that weekend you need to think about some of those oxytocin producing things.
As long as they have
Yes.
told you that.
Yes, as long as it's still healthy. Yes, absolutely.
You can also take a walk around the mall.
Well,
It's nice and empty.
But that's not as much
Sign
fun,
you
I'm
are.
just saying.
You can Pokemon hunt while she's doing that.
All right,